It's Friday night, just past midnight. The world is asleep, but not you, not me. We're here again, awake at the Loom. If the room around you is dark, leave it that way. Don't turn on the light. Just keep the small circle where you sit. That's enough. If you have tea, bring it closer. Feel the warmth against your palms. Let the steam rise. Watch how it curls in the air like mist climbing a mountain slope. Check the door. Lock it, even if you already did. Listen. Do you hear it? That hollow space when the world sleeps. When everything holds its breath for a moment before the hour turns. That's when stories like this come alive. Tonight, I'm not taking you to a house or a road. We're going higher, up, where a sound carries too far and the air is thin enough to hold secrets. There's a village tucked against the ridge in the Himalayas, stone path slick with rain, prayer flags stretched like ribs against the night. At its heart stands a stupa, old, cracked, whitewashed, silent. Or it should be silent. Some say a voice lives inside its walls. Some say the walls itself remember. And tonight, we're going to press our ears to it. Are you ready? Before we step into the square, I want you to understand something about mountains. Sound behaves differently up here. In cities, whispers die against walls. In the plains, they scatter. But in the high air, a single word can travel like a stray ember, lifted, carried, set down somewhere it was never meant to land. At night, when the valleys are still and the sky feels too close, even the smallest sound can find you. Bells, rung for evening prayer, can be heard on ridges miles away. A door closing in one hamlet arrives as a knock in another. A cough, a name, a song half swallowed by wind. There's an old story, one I heard from a trekking guide near Taplejung. A shepherd was camped on a high ridge with his goats. Midnight, thin, cold air. Stars bright enough to make you feel watched. And then he heard his wife calling him, clear, as if she were just below the rise. But she wasn't. She was a 3 days walk away. He followed the sound a little way down the path, lantern in hand. Nothing there. The goats stirred. The voice called again, closer this time. He went back to camp and didn't sleep until dawn. Up here, when something calls, you can't always trust the distance. Sometimes what you hear isn't coming closer. Sometimes it's already behind you. Walk with me now through the square. The stone beneath our feet is uneven, slick with rain. Water gathers in shallow pools, catching the faint blue of the night lamps strung across the street. Each step makes a hollow sound as though the earth below is empty, listening. The air carries the sharp scent of lime-washed walls, wet, cold, mixed with the darker breath of moss rising from the corners where no light falls. The smell clings like memory you can't shake. Look, see the rooftops? Corrugated metal, bent and rusted at the seams. The rain hits them in different tempos, some high, some hollow, others deep and dull. So the whole village sounds like a broken drum, keeping a rhythm you cannot follow. Prayer flags hang limp tonight, soaked through, their colors bleeding into one another. They should bring comfort, but in the rain they sag like old cloth left at a grave. The square is empty, doors barred, windows closed, yet the water runs steady in the gutters, making the sound of many voices whispering at once. Stay close beside me. Here, in this square, you will feel it, the sense of being watched, though no faces show, the kind of silence that isn't absence, but presence, waiting. Come closer to the fire. This is where Dorje likes to sit. Same stool, same wool shawl around his shoulders. The years have bent his back. His voice still carries through the rain like a bell struck in fog. He begins without preamble, eyes half closed. When they built the stupa, he says, the mason worked alone at night. He didn't trust the light. The story spills slow. George speaks of the mason, the old man whose hands knew stone better than they knew touch. He mixed lime and sand and whispered into the plaster as he had laid it down, names. One after another, names of villagers, living and dead, each whispered close to the wall as though he were feeding it secrets. They say he believed the stupa would hold their prayers longer if it knew them, that the walls himself could remember. But there's another version. George leans forward when he tells this one, voice lowering until the rain seems to lean in too. Some say the mason wasn't blessing the walls. He was binding something. A presence that had followed him from the upper pass, a presence that spoke in his sleep, that scratched at the door come nightfall. He worked faster towards the end. They found blood smeared at the seams where stone met, his own. He had cut his palm, pressed it into the flesh plaster, and whispered the names backwards, one by one. Not prayers, locks. By morning, the wall was smooth. His tools lay neatly beside the stupa. He never returned. Dorje's eyes sharpened when he reached the end, his voice turning to gravel. Stone remembers what it's fed, he said like a warning. Dorje's tale lingers in the air like smoke that refuses to rise. But it's what comes after the mason vanished that still makes the villagers lower their voices when night falls. It began with the bells. Every rooftop in the village carries a small bronze bell, thin, tuned by hand, meant to catch the wind and scatter prayers to the sky. At night, they usually fall silent. The mountain wind softens at dusk. But one night, long after the square had gone dark, the bells began to ring. Not all at once. One, then another, then a chorus. It wasn't the wind. The villagers say the air was still enough to see candle flames stand still. Yet the bells swayed, slow, precise, as if each touched by an unseen hand. The dogs were the first to react. You can always trust the dogs. They slunk to the edges of the courtyards. Hackles raised, whining towards the stupa. Their eyes followed something no one else could see. The first to step outside was old Nima, whose house faced the square. She wrapped a shawl tight around her shoulders and pushed her door open into a silence that wasn't silent. More like the sound had shifted to somewhere just behind her. She lifted her lantern. The square was empty. The rain had stopped, but every bell in sight was moving. Then came the sound. It started low, like breath drawn through hollow bones, and rose into the clear night until the mountains answered with a shivering echo. It wasn't wind. It wasn't human. The bells kept time with it perfectly. By dawn, nothing was broken. No footprints in the mud. But every villager swore they'd heard their own name carried on the sound. Not shouted, whispered. Just enough to make the hair rise on the back of your neck. For weeks after, the children refused to sleep near the windows, and to this day, when the bells ring after dark, the elders mutter under their breath and keep their doors closed. It only happens, Dorje says, when something wants to be remembered. You and I, let's go back. Midnight. The rain has thinned to a cold mist, the kind that clings to your eyelashes and creeps beneath your clothes. The square is empty now, slick stone gleaming under the lantern's thin circle of light. Every sound is sharper at this hour. You can hear your own breath, the drip from the eaves, a goat shifting in its pen. Somewhere beyond, a single bell sways until it falls still. The stupa waits at the far end of the square, crouched against the mountainside, like something grown from the rock itself. Up close, the plaster is cracked, swollen, with centuries of water and prayer. The prayer wheels along its base are slick and cold. When you brush one, it spins too quickly, as if pushed from inside. There's a door. Most passerbyers never see it, set low, half buried in moss. Tonight it stands ajar. The lantern flame jumps as you push it open. Inside, the air changes. Warm breath no longer fogs. The sound of the village slips away, replaced by something else. An almost inaudible hum, like air caught inside a throat that never exhales. Stone walls tighten around you. Steps descend. Each stone is worn into a shallow bowl for centuries of bare feet. Your lantern throws shadows that stretch and collapse with every step. Halfway down, you notice something strange. The echo doesn't behave. In a mountain, sound usually travels clean. Down here, it folds. Whispers come back wrong, not reversed, shifted. At the base is a narrow chamber, the stupa's hollow heart. The walls are lined with faded murals, protectors, demons, gods, with many arms and faces blurred by time. But what draws the eye is the seam, a single vertical line that cuts the plaster, no wider than a finger, running from floor to ceiling. Dorje once said the mason pressed his bleeding hand there. Some claim you can still see the print. The lantern's light trembles. There's a handprint, yes, darkened, fused with the wall, and round it, faint as breath on glass, the plaster ripples. Then the hum deepens. It's not in the air anymore. It's in your ribs, in the back of your teeth. The lantern flame gutters as if something had drawn near. You can't tell where it's coming from, above, behind, inside the wall, but it's close enough that your heartbeat starts to match it unwillingly. This is where most people turn back. Keep your lantern steady. Don't speak. The air down here listens. In the stillness, something shifts. It's subtle at first, like the moment before a match strikes. The wall where the seam runs begins to breathe. Not visibly, but you feel it. A slow inward pull, then release. Like lungs filling behind plaster. The hum breaks. In its place, whispers slide through the chamber. They come from the seam, not through it, as if the wall itself were remembering how to speak. You can't make out words at first. It's too many voices at once, layered, caught between breaths. Then one rises above the rest, a name, not shouted, whispered, your name. It's so close you feel the warmth on your ear. Every lantern flickers, curves the chamber into strange angles. Painted eyes catch the light, stare, then vanish. The seam darkens as if something presses against it from the other side. Villagers say this is where the mason began his backwards prayer, one name at a time. Each thing bound the thing closer. When the list was finished, he pressed his hand to the plaster to seal it. Others say he never finished. The whispers swell again, different names now. Some you recognize from Dorje's tale, some older, heavier, like words not meant for the living tongue. The air grows cold enough to numb the fingertips. The lantern's glass fogs from inside, then silence. A single drop of water hits the floor. The echo rose outward like a drum beat, and in that silence, one last whisper. It comes from behind you. Then you turn. The stairs are no longer empty. Run! You don't think you move. The lanterns jerk as you turn towards the stairs. Shadows leap across the chamber wall, stretching into grasping limbs. Another step follows you, echoing from behind, though nothing should be behind you. The whispers rise again, no longer names, but a low, rolling chorus, like monks chanting through water. Each stair feels steeper than the last. The air thickens with every breath. Stones scrape your palms as you push upwards. Behind, the seam splits, not wide, just enough to exhale a sound that doesn't belong to this world. It's wet, ancient, hungry. The doorway bursts open before you. Rain hits your face like a slap. The square is empty, the night soaked in cold blue light. Every rooftop bell is moving now, not in chorus, not in rhythm, the same rhythm you felt in your ribs below. The dogs howl from their pens. Somewhere a window slams. You stagger across the flagstones, lanterns swinging wildly. The sound follows up from the door, not footsteps anymore, but something heavier, dragging through the stairwell like chains wrapped in wet cloth. Then, as if hand cut the thread, Everything stops. The bells freeze mid-sway. The rain hangs in the air. Even the wind stops. You are standing in the center of the square. The stupa looms behind you, silent. It seems hidden once more beneath the moss and plaster. A bell chimes, clear, clean. Old Dorje says no one ever sees what comes out, only the name it remembers. So, if one night you hear the bells ringing when the wind is still, don't answer, don't look, just keep walking. And whatever whispers your name from behind, pretend you don't hear it. If you pass through a mountain village and hear a name called softly in the night, maybe yours, keep walking, don't answer, don't look back until next time. This has been Loom Weavers, Stories at Midnight, produced by the Nyampali House, keepers of secrets and stories.